maybe even J.D. Vance after that last video, both of them need to go through a Gurudev session. That peacemaking effort would be fantastic for the world. I think that's what the world needs. Gurudev, we recently...
I can't agree less.
Gurudev, we recently witnessed the Mahakumbh. And I thought that I must ask you for your views on it. I was in Lucknow a week before the Mahakumbh, and the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister came for an event like this of mine. And I asked him, Yogi ji, kitne log aayenge? And he said, we expect 45 crore Hindus to be at Mahakumbh. And later I told him and I told his team that, are you sure? I cannot fathom this number, 45 crore. And then the number came on the last day, Gurudev, of 67 plus crore. And that evening, one of my panelists, Shantanu Gupta, had come, and I told him I want to speak to the officer who organized this. And there was an officer of 2007 or 8 card, a young officer. And I asked him, how do you calculate 67 crore? He said, we used incredible technology from AI to drones to mapping. He said, this number is real. Now, what does that number signify, Gurudev? In the history of our nation, what does the Kumbh, the congregation, the nature of the congregation, despite all negative narratives being put, what does that number signify?
Well, it shows the confidence in people that arrangements are made there for everyone to go. See, the faith for Kumbh was there even before. But people were scared to go because they thought, and how to go? First of all, transportation was a big issue. And you go there and there is not proper facilities for people to say. Now when they know that, yes, the government is able to handle, the administration is able to handle any number of people coming there, any crowd, so they get this confidence. Yeah, I too can go and come back safely. There is a joke moving around, you might have heard about it, I don't know. It says, a gentleman says, I lost my wife 3 times and I found her back all the 3 times. And this is, they have made very bad arrangements in the Kumbh that they are able to get people very quickly. So, the arrangement speaks for it. And then, when जब कहते हैं ना कि राजाश्रय मिल जाता है किसी चीज़ को, धर्म को जब राजा का आश्रय मिलता है, support from the administration, from the state, then लोगों के भीतर उत्साह भी बढ़ जाता है उससे.
हौसला भी बढ़ जाता है.
हाँ, राजाश्रय के बिना कभी कहीं भी कोई धर्म फलपा नहीं. दुनिया भर में देखिए हर सिविलाइजेशन को राजाश्रय मिला है.
So you are saying the political establishment is supporting this because, Gurudev...
That's the desire of people. So they have to support and they're doing what they have to do. That's good.
Is the political establishment being guided by the people or the people being encouraged by the political establishment, which leads to a spiritual awakening? Because it's been there in us. India has been under foreign invaders' rule for so many years, but we have never lost touch with our spiritual roots. So there's some resilience inside us, which despite all the attempts to distort our Hindu legacy or our Sanatan legacy has survived and become strong.
There was a sort of low self-esteem that got developed with this. People were very shy to express. We always thought, religion is our personal thing. We cannot make it public, our belief system. This type of narrative was floating around. And so people thought, this is not so cool. It's not so modern to encourage people going to Kumbh or going to temples. This is all sort of, people who are not so educated, the rural guys will go, and urban elites are nothing to do with, that sort of attitude was prevalent for a long time. But now that is changed because the leadership of the country proudly proclaimed, acknowledged and honored their own roots. ऑफिसर्स भी मंदिर जाते थे, टीका लगाते थे, बाहर आते ही सारा टीका पहुंच करके जाते थे. अब ऐसा नहीं करते. अब तो we are true to who we are. Before we used to hide our identity, feel so shy about our own identity. Now when the leadership stood for our culture, for civilization, our religion, our Prime Minister stood for it, and all other ministers stood for it, then people woke up and say, hey, they feel very comfortable. It's like coming out of some shackle. We were trying to be somebody who we are not. Now we know, oh, it's okay to be who we are.
Yeah.
That self-confidence came up.
Gurudev, I felt so bad once when I had gone to Kashi many years back, before the Kashi Vishwanath temple complex had been redeveloped and built to what it is now. I have not been after that, but I felt very bad because I found the most ancient of temples and perhaps the most significant of religious symbols, shivlings, all scattered in a terrible urban ruin. And I even found that locals had built washrooms next to temples, it was so bad, it was so terrible, so terrible. So I like to connect things in my mind. And I want to share this with the audience that 3 weeks back, I had the good fortune of receiving a phone call from my dear friends Ajay and Rajita and from the Art of Living, to whom I'm deeply connected in my heart to you. And I was told about the fragments of the ancient shivling of Somnath that you have been blessed to receive. I couldn't believe it. And I was told that it had been handed over to you for reconsecration. And that evening, we did a program, and Gurudev came there, and the amazing thing about Gurudev, he does everything in a very playful way. I think I like that, because I spend time with such serious people, and people who take themselves so seriously. Doesn't matter if others take them seriously or not. And here is a man who everyone takes seriously, but a divine person. But he doesn't seem to take himself too seriously. He wears his greatness so lightly on his shoulders. Gurudev, I'll be frank with you. I love your easygoing, playful nature, which makes us feel so content and happy and relaxed in your presence. That evening, you held the fragments of the shivling in your hands, and you explained the significance of that. I found a different meaning there, Gurudev. In my mind, I'm linking that to the excavation of the legendary city in Dwarka, to the rebuilding of the Kashi Vishwanath complex, and I'm seeing in all of this a rebuilding and a reawakening of our civilization. Do you agree with me? And that is your immense contribution to our country. And I'd like you to tell me a little bit about that, because there have been so many distortions of our history. The reconsecration of the Shivling, Dwarka, Kashi Vishwanath, what do they all connect in?
And Mahakal, Ujjain, and Kedarnath.
What does it all suggest?
Kedarnath was in such shackles and it's in such shambles when we went there. And there is all shanty towns and
Yes.
very shabby atmosphere. But now, such a big difference there. Same with Varanasi. The little gullies, it would take so many hours for people to enter in the gullies in Shivaratri days. And people would not want to go again.
Yes.
Now, the facelift it has got is something that our country deserves this. It was long due. Thanks to our Prime Minister for really making Kashi Vishwanath temple what it is. And I mean, it's like Vatican of India.
Yeah, no less.
Kashi, not
Yes,
less than a Vatican city.
Great.
And it needs those sort of facility for 1.4 crore people going there. Now, same has happened with Mahakal, Ujjain. The glory of Ujjain, you can see that now. We have only read in textbooks. Now this Somnath Shivling is very interesting. Perhaps it is the spiritual energy that got generated in the entire country after Kumbh. During the Kumbh, that this family, which has been holding this for 1,000 years, when the shivling was broken. The shivling was floating, it was never touched the ground. उसका भू स्पर्श कभी नहीं हुआ.
Yes, yes, yes.
तो ये अपने सुना है, पढ़ा है.
Yes, yes.
So when that shivling was broken, the pieces of that were taken by the Agnihotri family of South India, near Papanasam, near Tanjavur district, small village. And so they were keeping it in their home, and they couldn't see that as a pieces, broken pieces, though they made it into shivling. And in the year 1924, they met with Kanchi Paramacharya Chandrasekhara Saraswati ji. And he said, don't bring this out for another 1,000 years. Don't talk about another 100 years. This is what in 1924 he said. Don't bring this out for another 100 years. Then that becomes 1,000 years for now. So they went to Jayendra Saraswati Swamiji. He also said that after the Ram temple, only then we will think about it.
Okay.
Though the Paramacharya has said that after 100 years we should think about later only, 100 years. We must respect what the eldest Guru has said. And then they said that the current Vijayendra Saraswati ji said, yes, go and give it to Gurudev, Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji in Bangalore. And this is the Sankalpa of the senior Acharya also, to bring it out after 100 years.
Yes.
So it happened. And they brought it, and it's so interesting. This shivling has the magnetic effect. Unlike other magnets which has north and south pole, the magnet here is in the very center. It has 140 gauss.
Yes.
That's a huge
magnetic
force. So I feel this is a blessing. God, we say, has 5 qualities, 5 actions that God does. One is creation,